we have this X amount of revenue. So we take our revenue divided by miles, and what was the revenue per mile? Hi, welcome to another amazing episode with us here at Osage Financial. In today's episode, key performance indicators. These are otherwise known as KPIs. You absolutely need to know your KPIs to be able to analyze the efficiency of your business. Now, I just spoke to a guy that owns a towing company. And in his towing company, we spoke about the basic key performance indicators for his business. And in these performance indicators, we looked at what actions are happening in the business that lead to revenue and, of course, profitability, gross profits. We looked at his business in such a way. We looked at the top. How many calls are coming in? How many inbound calls does he have? He has calls coming in from network, people calling him because they know he does a tow business. Marketing, people finding him on Google, Instagram, Facebook, and calling his business the number he is available, or texting him the number is available into the business. How many did he have for the month of June? Of all the inbound calls that he was getting, of all the inbound demand, how many of those converted into actual calls that ran to go and pick up a vehicle from point A and deliver it to point B? Inbound calls, how many were booked? What's the conversion rate? Conversion rate simply states the calls coming in divided by the calls booked, and we get a percentage of the conversion rate. And then on that conversion rate, on the calls booked, on the actual number of calls booked and the percentage, we looked at what is the average revenue per call. So we had inbound calls coming in, calls booked, get a conversion rate. On the calls booked, each call was charged at a different amount on different reasons: weather, distance, time, situation. Depends on if it was an accident or if it was just picking up a tow from a house to a mechanic or from a business to business. So they're all priced differently. However, on all the calls ran, what is the average call? And then we looked at one of the key important factors that he knows he should look at as a business, but never really analyzes in detail: mileage. In the entire month of June, what was the mileage that the business ran? And then we looked at a key metric. What is the revenue per mile? We have a revenue per call. We had all these inbound calls. We booked this many calls. We have a booking rate, and we have an average revenue per call from all these calls that we ran. Now, we ran all these many miles in that month of June. And when he found that number, he said, "Man, I didn't know KPIs were this important." And I said, they're absolutely important. That's why they're called key performance indicators. They're indicating the key performances of your business. And these are the key metrics that drive revenue to your business. How many calls are coming in? How many calls are you booking? What's the booking rate? The booking rate also indicates, with all these calls coming in, our booking rate is X. Maybe let's call it 70%. The 30% calls that were not booked. Why? Because that's a missed opportunity. That's a direct demand coming into the business. 30% of that demand gone. We didn't book it. Why? Was it because of timing? Were we overbooked? Did we have another call that we're running and we couldn't run these other calls? Are we inefficient in our operations? So that 30% is an opportunity to see what's going on in the business and to improve some of the business operations. He smiled and just nodded his head and said yes. All right. And then when we looked at the calls that were actually booked, average revenue per call, we took all the calls ran and what's the average? So we can understand, on average, this is the revenue that the business is getting. And of course, the one that he really liked was the mileage. We had X amount of revenue for the entire month of June, and we ran this many miles for the entire month of June. Some of those miles are dead miles, right? Dead miles simply means running without a vehicle on the tow. Right? He has a wheel lift tow truck, running without a vehicle on the tow. You could be running without a vehicle on the tow for many reasons. Going from your base or your dispatch point to the customer's location. or going from after you drop off the customer's vehicle to your central location. If your central location is different from your dispatch location, some people may have their business dispatching from their personal home, but their central location is in the center of the metroplex where they operate, where they have the highest demand. They would like to be in the central location where the highest demand is available to capture the customer, service the customer at the most time efficient and cost efficient, fuel efficient, distance efficient dispatch point. So we looked at these numbers and he just said yes, and he absolutely loved his key performance indicators. Do you have a key performance indicator in your business? Do you watch the key performance indicators in your business? These numbers are key and absolute importance to how well your business is performing. You absolutely need to know what are the key performance indicators in your business. If you don't know, or if you need help in understanding your key performance indicators, click the link below, get in touch with us, osagefinancial.com/growth point, or any other link that gets in touch with us here at Osage Financial, and we'll be happy to talk to you. If you're a student, we hope you found this episode valuable to you. If you're a company looking for accountants, click the link below. Remember, know your key performance indicators. Have a good day.